The Seven Network welcomes you to Bathurst. The 29th edition of the great race. They're racing off the starting line. We take Chopper Cam, and you can see that Mark Gibbs has absolutely stonewalled them off the start. And in fact, it wouldn't be surprising to see whether Dick Johnson has been able to get up on the outside. Jim Richards missed the kick initially, but they're all through the first turn and heading up Mountain Straight now for the first time. No incidents through past the sand trap. And Mark Gibbs, the young Sydney driver, driving for Bob Forbes Racing in the GIO Nissan. There he is, out in front. Jimmy Richards back in third, and it looks like a great start from Dickie Johnson or John Bower.
Nissan Ford as they head up the mountain for the first time. A poor start from Richards, but he did get it going. Look at this, the GIO car of Gibbs Onslow. These young guys have got a lot to prove, and they would be rapt to be leading the first lap of this race.
And Glenn Seaton coming back after a tardy start, slipped from third position on the grid back to about ninth, but has recovered a few places already.
You can't win this one in one lap, but Mark Gibbs is sprinting. The two Johnson Sierras, second and fourth, split by Jimmy Richards, and wait for the crowd to acknowledge Peter Brock and the Holden set at the top of the mountain. Here's Richards sitting in behind Johnson.
There's the second of the Nissan GTRs, the Price Walden car. Peter Brock just ahead of him, holding up the Holden flag on the first lap around.
Coming down towards the dipper. The exit from there. Win Percy up with them. Beautiful shot from our chopper at the top of Mount Panorama as they run down towards Mazda Forest Elbow. And an incident-free start to the event as they work their way now onto Conrod Straight for the first time. One of the early ones, out car number 32, with a head gasket problem in the pits already.
Bobby Tyndall. Big disappointment for him.
Yes, that would be. That's the GIO car that's cross-entered for Gibbs and Onslow, so they haven't got another car to fall back on. But boy, if they got the pedal down on this opening lap, they've opened about 100 metres on the field as they come through Caltex Chase the first time around.
Notice one of the Moffat cars already up alongside Win Percy, and down on the brakes comes Jim Richards, takes the number 18 car. Dick Johnson sits in behind as they strike off the first lap here at Mount Panorama. Mark Gibbs, driving for Bob Forbes Racing in the Nissan, sponsored by GIO, will lead them up Mountain Straight for the second time.
Nissan first and second, then the two Shell Team Sierras, followed by the second of the Nissan team cars.
They go beneath the Nissan bridge. What a beautiful start. Let's have a look at the Prima Holiday replay as we take our race cam with Dick Johnson. He got away very smartly behind them, and it was John Bowe up on the outside who was able to slot into second place behind Gibbs, then Richards, then Johnson.
Nose to tail, the next half dozen. Glenn Seaton going through. Neil Crompton, or Brad Jones rather, in the number 7 Holden dealer team car.
Well, the beauty for Jimmy Richards here is that he's got a second car to fall back on if something goes wrong with this car, so they can really use the lead car as the hare and make all the tortoises follow.
Dice for the lead now as Mark Gibbs in the GIO Nissan is passed by Jimmy Richards on the outside. Richards sneaks up, takes the lead away. Gibson will now fall in behind. They have already established quite a break over the rest of the field. The exit from Repco Corner, and they work their way now towards BP Cutting. Look at this as Glenn Seaton on the inside. Here he comes, car number 30, through on the inside of Dick Johnson. He may have missed the start, as Gary pointed out. Wow, straight over the top of their track cam is Jim Richards. The exit from Mazda Corner, and he now works Conrod Straight. That's the gap back to second. Mark Gibbs a little taily coming out of there, then followed by John Bowe. Next one is Drew Price. Then Glenn Seaton and those bunch of Holdens right behind him. One of the Corollas just down a lap already as Richards sprints down Conrod Straight. Here comes Seaton down the outside of the Sierra. Now down on the brakes through the gears. When Percy closes up on the tail of the Pride of Queensland, but gets it sideways. And out goes Percy. Will he hit the wall? He saves it. Brakes are locked on. Percy has been able to save that, the 16 car.
But there is damage on that front right-hand guard. Look at that. The tyre is almost rubbing there. That is expensive for HRT. Let's see if Percy comes into the pits.
Well, he should come in immediately.
Yeah, the tyre is rubbing. You can see smoke coming off the front tyre, but he's going to do another lap. Now, this will be critical to the result of this car in this race. I'm sure he's not aware that he has this problem.
Looks like the Product car has gone into the wall, or the tyre wall at the top of the mountain. Let's have a look at this with our Prima Holiday replay. 33. Oh, dearie me. He's launched that. That's the Pearson Stewart car. Bob Pearson.
Bruce Stewart.
And veteran Bruce Stewart, who's been here for a number of years.
What a shame.
And that has really tweaked the front and the rear of the car.
05, the Peter Brock Mobile Commodore is in trouble. Andrew Madecki at the wheel. He's stopped on the climb up toward the cutting.
He's got nothing going there.
No. That 5-litre V8 is dead as a doornail.
Well, they've had considerable problems with this car today. They had turbo damage earlier that kept them in the pits for a considerable while. Shuffled them right back to the back of the field, and they're in serious problem. Can't see until they come around the next curve what the problem is. Front right, by the look of it, it's either missing altogether or very... it's missing altogether, all right.
Ooh, there's doing some damage there. Lower ball joint on the suspension being ground away.
Meantime, John Brady, we've got a shot here from race cam of Andrew Madecki working on the 05 Brock car, all on his own some. Still parked at the side of the circuit, trying to figure out what the problem is with this car and try and get it back up and running, because the laps are ticking away and it's becoming almost an impossible task. Lost another one.
Now, that might be the same car. You get a look at it side on. If it's 44, it's dumped another wheel. 43.
Sister car.
The team car. So there's 3 Sierras have lost the left front wheel. Sorry, is that the left front?
That's the right front.
The right front,
yeah.
sorry. And left and right-hand drive cars, very confusing.
There's problems for the Neil Crompton Bradley Jones number 7 Holden Racing Team Commodore. Crompton had taken the car up to 9th on the road. He's had a shunt somewhere around the circuit. They've hit it with the 100-mile-an-hour tape, the silver tape. They're trying to make sure that there's nothing damaged. Crompton decided to bring the car in just at the same time. That's our bumper cam sitting out the front, giving you the best view. The other good news is Andrew Madecki has passed the TAFE course and has the 05 car back and mobile, or limping anyway towards the pits. Nissan number 1 car, Jim Richards, pitted and rejoined the race, still in the lead, so they have not dropped the lead away.
They've got a wheel coming off.
Was it a wheel coming off, or he might have a puncture? That tyre looked to be a little bit down as he went up the mountain.
Longhurst was in 5th place.
Here goes the tyre.
He's about to lose it. The 20 car was in 10th place.
I've seen Dick Johnson in a similar situation in his Mustang several years ago, and he managed to hold it all together, well, Larry Perkins at the wheel at the time, and bring it down the mountain safely. But there's no guarantees here. That tyre is going to get shredded very badly by the time he's down toward the pits.
Oh. Car 20 has left the pits with Denny Hulme at the wheel.
That is a rotten piece of luck for BMW, running so strongly at 3rd position at one stage. Yes, Neil Crompton, Brad Jones, number 7, the second of the HRT team cars, getting pushed to the side of the road.
Bond rejoins the race in 10th position, dropped 2 spots there on the changeover.
What happened, son?
We're out of gas. Very high-tech problem.
Oh.
Switched the reserve on as we came up pit straight. That was the first indication of the car coughing, and she only made it to the cutting.
Colin Bond, car number 8, the Caltech Sierra. This is a replay of exactly what happened or what led to the pit stop. Have a look. Bang. Dearie me, recovered that well.
Oh dear. Smoke pouring from the front left-hand wheel.
That's looking fairly terminal. And that's looking even worse.
Yep, the Seaton car was coughing and spluttering its way out, and it hasn't even made it out of pit lane. I can see the Peter Jackson pit crew running up the end of the pit lane to pull it back. Oh, look at this. Smoke pouring out the inside of the cockpit of the 17 car. John Bowe getting covered in smoke and fumes. The wheels shaking, obviously a problem on the front left-hand corner of the car. But he's only a couple of 100 metres from pit lane, so he should make it back. Well, it's quite a barbecue in the 17 car. Meanwhile, car 18 comes in.
This is going to be good when 17 arrives.
Yeah, we're going to have 2 Shell Sierras, or one of them at least, not on a scheduled stop. And Johnson's recent bad luck continues. 1991 has not been his year.
Well, there's even bigger problems. The Johnson car is coming back, and they're pushing the Peter Jackson car back at the same time down pit lane.
So 3 Sierras there in trouble.
Engine gone in 9.
We're only just saying, it's amazing. That was not a Channel 7 voodoo, but we're just saying how well the Millen Brabham car was going. One of the Moffat Sierras, and here it is limping up the mountain with smoke belching from the exhaust.
Coming down the Conrod Straight the last time before I came in the pits, it just got really soft and I could smell some oil and so on, which is an indication that the turbochargers failed.
Yep. Well, that's desperately bad luck for you guys. You've put on a great act so far this week with both cars. First time at Bathurst.
Yeah.
What are your reflections on the race?
It's a fantastic event. I'm really impressed with the facility and the professionalism, the organisation of the place, and the preparation of the cars. Alan Moffat's given us a really good car, but it's just really great to be here. It's a race I've always wanted to do, and I hope I can come back.
Well, there's the number 1 car that dictates the pace. As we check out the Caltex race score, Richards and Scaife leading in the Nissan GTR. Percy and Grice, the defending champions, run in second. Gibson, Onslow and the GIO Nissan GTR run third. Brancatelli and Charlie O'Brien and the Synovus Vitamin Sierra run in fourth. Fifth is Radicic and Shield. Position number 6, Fitzgerald and Denny Holm in the B&H BMW. Kevin Waldock and Brett Peters, great effort that, up to 7th. 8th is Bond and Crosby in the Caltex Sierra. 9th, the number 30 car, it's just dropped out, and that moves now Tim and Alf Grant. One more spot. Well, that's shades of last year, isn't that bad luck? Dave Barrow.
These guys
clouded that on the wall, hasn't turned, and now the 43 car. Straight off into the sand trap.
Goodness me. These 2 cars had a heck of a day.
Brian Bolwell, who put the package together, has wound up with some rather expensive repair bills. Queensland Plastics entry. Bad luck to Brian as we take our race cam. Sitting on top of Colin Bond's Caltex Sierra, car number 8.
Car 8 running in position 8. So Bondi sitting in the top 10 for most of the day. Had a few problems earlier on, but managed to get it together, and the car seemingly running reliably now. And there's our other race cam looking down the side of the Sierra, which gives you a good idea of the tyre distortions and how much the wheels move and the car slides around on the surface of the track. Holman Fitzgerald continue in the one surviving B&H BMW.
They're running 6th outright too.
Well, one of them's hung together. And this is a good effort from these guys.
7th spot held by Kevin Waldock and Brett Peters. That's another great effort from them. As Jimmy Richards comes down at the end of Conrod Straight.
Well, 10 years ago, 1981, Nissan began their campaign for outright honours at Mount Panorama.
Last lap board out as Gentleman Jim looks for Bathurst victory number 4. To the end of pit straight. Now up the mountain for the final time. The order. Whoops, we've had one go off. Looks like the Dillman car there off on the side of the road. Little BMW. That was running second in its class. Yes, it's parked on the side of the road. So the order is Richards over Wynne Percy, Alan Grice, and Mark Gibbs, Rowan, Onslow, as Bondi trying to limp round just to finish this lap off. Still running in 8th. This would still be a lonely time for Freddie Gibson to be so close, but we've seen things happen. Fred can remember leading one of the races here, popping a tyre and winding on his lid at Skyline. But the crowd should be ready to salute Jimmy Richards. And that they do as he heads down towards the 2WS sweeper for the final time. And here he comes. A great cheer for Gentleman Jim on his way to victory. And what a great year, the Australian Touring Car Championship. He's had to fight the young Turk, Mark Scaife, that has been groomed well and truly by Nissan. But with Mark in the car for pole day sprints and pole position for the race, and Jim there for the victory, somehow it all seems fair this afternoon at Bathurst.
Yes, when you think of the long list of Bathurst campaigns by this company, drivers like George Fury, Glenn Seaton, Terry Shield, Gary Scott, boys who've all been aboard Nissan products at one stage or another, always coming very close, but never close enough. Well, looks like they're going to do it, and it's certainly well-deserved. Nissan, long-time commitment to motorsport in this country and around the world, and they certainly deserve the success at Mount Panorama today.
Out of Caltech's chase now for the final time. A smile breaks out on the face of Fred Gibson. Anticipation on the face of Mark Scaife. The run down to the final corner. Here he comes. The very last corner of the 1991 Tooheys 1000 at Mount Panorama Bathurst. Checkered flag, Jim Richards, Nissan. That's his car. The whole exercise has been worthwhile for Fred Gibson Motorsport. Jubilant scenes as Jimmy Richards heads up Mountain Straight. Jim would love all of this. Win Percy, Alan Grice will finish second in the Holden Racing Team Commodore. Third place will go to Bob Forbes Racing, the GIO Nissan GTR of Mark Gibbs and Rowan Onslow. And fourth place, well done to Alan Moffat, the Sonoma's Vitamins Ford Sierra with Big Charlie O'Brien and John Franco Brancatelli.